Oh no, we are the ones who are true. We are the ones who are true. And they themselves feel that by the power they have from the agreement that they get from the others who want the same thing. And that's a very important principle. And it can't be said enough that the human institutions are not genuine in the sense of the groups to whom Paul wrote were genuine. Or Paul himself was genuine. Or those who heard this word in the first century were genuine. It can't be said enough. Because it's such an easy and common thing to assume amongst the human institutions that they are something genuine just because they want to be, just because they agree they're genuine. So, if no human institution that claims to know the way to God can actually be genuine, because God is completely and totally hidden from the humans, then what was genuine? What did genuineness look like? What did Paul encourage those who he assumed were genuine to be doing? Helping each other? Recognizing that they were something special because they heard this word that the others didn't hear. And it wasn't about human agreement, it was something supernatural. It came from God. It was the witness that Jesus indeed was the Messiah. He was indeed raised up, and He was living in their bodies. And that is the word that they heard. The presence that they felt. So He told them, don't just dilute this incredible thing by binding yourselves with the common animals who have no idea about this, who don't want this, who just want to be animals who live and die for themselves, for their own purpose, because you have another purpose. You're being called to this extraordinary purpose. That's what you're hearing inside you. That's the voice you're hearing. The voice of the Father who's calling you to His incredible purpose. So don't just mix it with those who only and always have their own purpose. To survive, like any animal wants to just survive. Prolong its life, preserve itself, persevere, and serve its own purpose, its name, its existence, and the existence of its family. Those who are like them, those who look like them, those who have their DNA in them. That's the purpose of the animal. To promote their name, their existence, their very being, their purpose. Promote their DNA. Preserve their DNA. Promote those who are like them. Truly like them. Because they truly do have a little physical, unseen as it may be, but physical piece of them in them That's the animal's purpose. And that is what really becomes the purpose of these human institutions who claim to know the way to God. It's all about the family. The family has been turned into something righteous. The family has been turned into something that God is concerned about. When in reality, it's completely animal. The human families are 100% animal activity, animal driven. It becomes the very purpose of animal driven activity is to promote the family, and that is what becomes the war cry of these human institutions that claim to know the way to God. Turning the family into something good and righteous, when in reality it's not something good at all. It's what any animal always does, because it's driven by instinct to do that, because it's a self-centered drive. And that's what is driving the animals. It is for their purpose that this voice of instinct calls them and drives them and teaches them how to be, how to promote themselves first and their families along with themselves, because of that same self-driven impulse. And one's family, when two people come together and produce offspring, those offspring contain a part of the parents, a physical piece of the parents in them. That is why there is such an attraction of the parents to their own children and not any generic children from the block. Parents don't feel about children the way they feel about their own children, or something special about their own children. And it isn't, as the humans claim, something good. It's just something that the animal instinct produces in them so that they will take care of those offspring, so that they will persevere, so that their name can continue, so that their name can continue to be good, like they assume it is, like they want it to be, because that's the animal purpose, to preserve itself, to preserve its name, to preserve its identity. And the way it does that is by preserving its family, by preserving its own self, its own DNA. It's passed along. It's a way to live forever. In a very animal way, not in a way that has to do with God, because it has nothing to do with God's purpose. It's completely animal driven. And it agrees with the animals, and that's why it has become the center point of all these institutions that claim to know the way to God, because it seems like something good to take care of your family. According to the animals, it is something good because it agrees with what's in them. It agrees with what they can agree with, individually and collectively. But it doesn't agree with God and His purpose, because it's completely about the animals. It's completely about your own self, your own name, your own DNA being preserved and promoted and prolonged. And then that same DNA gets passed along to your grandchildren and their children, and on and on and on. But it has nothing to do with God's purpose.